Hello everyone, and welcome to another live stream. So today what I want to try to do in this stream is to keep learning a little bit of Rust. This is generally what we do in this channel. And today, since I am alone because Roberto is enjoying his own holiday, I want to keep playing a little bit with JSON and Rust and APIs, which is something that we did last time. So we're gonna continue with that particular example. But before we get into that, let me share the YouTube channel where you can find all the recordings, just in case you missed some of them or you are just curious to see what do I generally stream. Maybe it's the first time that you're looking at this channel. In that case, please say hello in the chat. And yeah, I guess let's get into that. So I'm gonna share my IDE. So what we did last time is basically a very simple script. Well, in Rust maybe you shouldn't say script, but we did a very simple program that is basically calling an API. In particular, we are using this service called Last.fm, which is a service that gives you a history of all the music that I have been listening to or people that use this service has been listening to. So it's a quite old RPC style of API. And basically the way you use it is you have a base URL, in that base URL you pass a bunch of query string parameters, for instance the method, the user, the format, and a bunch of other parameters including the API key, and that gives you back a JSON. Well, because we are specifying format JSON, otherwise we will get an XML. And then what I'm doing, I am trying to parse that, I'm making that request, parsing it as a JSON and trying to deserialize that JSON into recent tracks, which is a custom struct that we defined. And then from that custom struct, we get a bunch of different things. And specifically, we want to get the last song that I've been listening to, so the most recent song. So basically we do response, which is the object we have been deserializing to, recent tracks, dot track, first, and wrap, and then we print that. So let's see if this works. Compiling, and this seems to work, and it gives us this particular structure. Now, last time I wasn't super happy with this structure because it's not bad on its own, but it's not ideal. For instance, you have here image, and then you have a bunch of images. For every image you have this text, which is not really a text, but it's a URL, and the sides. Maybe one thing that would be nicer is if we could introduce a very bespoke type. For instance, where is it? Here where we have this vec image, rather than using image, maybe we can define a struct ImageSet, which basically, well, that's probably close enough to what I wanted to do. Thank you, Copilot. Where basically you get small, medium, large, extra large, assuming that that was all the options. Let's run this again. So basically we get small, medium, large, extra large. There isn't any mega, so calm down there, Copilot. But maybe we will need to make this once an option because we are not entirely sure that they will exist. Well, let's make them an option just in case for now. So now my problem is that I would like to deserialize rather than struct image. I would like to deserialize here vec of image. No, I would like to deserialize this to ImageSet, right? And now this is not going to work because, of course, we haven't implemented deserialize. And even if we try to deserialize, I don't expect this is going to work because it doesn't match like an obvious conversion between what we got and what we want to achieve. So let's see how this blows up, and then we're going to try to figure out how to build a custom deserializer for Serde to convert that sort of custom hash map to a type that we want. Okay, as expected, this one exploded because it said I was trying to decode a JSON and there was an invalid type. We got a map and was expected a string. So let's see how we can create a custom deserializer for it. And actually I have here, just to see this a little bit better, I have here another, I kind of pre-configure some JSON. This is basically what we get back as a response. And basically this is what we want to do. Every time we have image, rather than being a vector of this kind of things, we want to convert this to an image set. So let's see how can we do that. Actually, maybe before doing that, let's clean up things a little bit. I want to do another submodule. Let's call it, I don't know, is types a good name? I cannot think of anything else. So if you have a better idea, please let me know in the chat. So here what we want to do is to use mod types. And then I want to move everything there just to make it a little bit easier to work with. And now types goes here, and of course we need to move also the serde declaration there. Perfect. So now we can also write tests in this module and test that our deserialization works. Okay, so I was trying to do a little bit of prep work before the stream and try to figure out how do we write a custom deserializer for a specific type in Serde. So basically the idea is that, for instance, here where we have ImageSet, what we might want to do is this serde-deserialize with, and I think we can pass a specific function, ImageSet deserializer. Now this function doesn't exist. Let's see if this guy can help us. No. So let's look at the signature for this one. I had it somewhere here. I think I had an example. I saw an example somewhere in Stack Overflow. Yeah, this one, Deserialize with. So basically what they do here, they defined a custom function that is called from X. So let's copy this signature for now, and let's see if we can make sense of this one. So in our case, we need to call it ImageSet deserializer, and it needs to return an image set. Now the deserializer needs to be imported, I believe, from I guess serde-json. Let's see if that works. Does it? Maybe it was not serde-json, but just serde. Okay, so now here, what can we do? I wonder if we can deserialize this to a JSON value, generic JSON value. Cool. So now what we want to do is let mute image set, which initially is entirely empty. And then what we can do is, wow, okay, Copilot, calm down. Right. So what we might want to do is we expect this to be a value. So something like if let value array of images equal s, well, let's just call it row value. Hey WGaffa, how are you? Good evening. Sorry, I'm not paying too much attention to the chat, so I might ignore that, but hopefully once I get the gist of it, I'll be more interactive with the chat. But please feel free to write questions, just write hello, whatever you like. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is let me get this JSON on the side, because that might make it a little bit simpler to understand. Open to the side. So basically here we are gonna get something like this. So an array of objects where every object contains size and text, and we wanted to convert to a single struct where we are gonna fill, if we find small, we're gonna put that into the small value. If we find medium, we're gonna put it in the medium value, and so on. So now what we want to do is basically check if it's an array, this row value. At this point we can do something, right? And then finally we return okay ImageSet. Now what are we gonna do? Yeah, for image in images. So this is going to be an array, so we can iterate over. I don't trust Copilot, so I'm gonna be rewriting all of that. Now it needs to be an object. Yes, so value object and image equal image. So if the current value is an object, what we want to do is read the keys, the key value pairs. So is there a size? Okay, let's do it this way. So I want to avoid all this nesting. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but basically let's do let size equal image get size. For now, let's just keep it optional, and let text image get text. Well, this is actually going to be URL. Okay, you can probably see how painful it is to do this. I'm starting to think that maybe we can do it in a slightly different way. What if we deserialize here to an hash map of, what is this going to be? Actually, this is going to be a vec of hash map of string. Is that gonna be allowed if we, of course, import hash map? Cool. So if this one fails, the whole deserialization is going to fail, but at this point we should have a little bit of an easier time, because now we just need to parse every single let's say row images. Now this is probably not the most performant way of doing it, because we are allocating everything into an hash map and then recreating a new object. So for now, let's just go with it. For image in row images, we get the size and a wrap. We get the text and a wrap. This is not necessarily ideal. Maybe we just want to fail. What's the easiest way to fail there? Okay, I like where this is going. The one thing that I would like to do is to get rid of this unwrap, but let's make it as a to-do. Okay, so now let's see if this guy works. What we want to do is basically say, we are basically saying actually, you know what? Let's do another file, ImageSet.rs, because this is getting messy enough to justify its own file. So what we want to do is types oh yeah, sorry, this needs to be in the main. And now here in types we can use ImageSet. We need to move this function where is ImageSet? There we go. All right, so what else can we do here? We can probably write a test for this one on its own, but I think we'll need to clean up a little bit here first. For instance, types, we will need to make everything public. Okay, now this guy doesn't work, but we can import it, and ImageSet needs to be imported as well. I think now we are getting to a good shape. Right, the easiest way we can test this is by just running the main, and let's see what happens. Ooh, it didn't blow up, which is surprising. Perfect. So artist is creating an image set correctly. So now basically what we can do is last song dot artist dot image dot, and at this point we can use large and a wrap, and this is going to be a URL, which I think is much more intuitive than just using a generic hash map with an array where you need to kind of figure out exactly if you want a specific size, you need to find it inside the array. So I am relatively happy with this one. I don't know if you have any suggestions on how to make this better. If not, I'm gonna focus on this to do, where basically what we want to do there is, rather than doing unwrap, we need to return a specific error. And what is the error here? D.error. How can we generate a D error? Can we do map? Okay, how do you convert an option to an error? I thought there was a map error, but that's only for results. So what if we do map or else? Okay, that's a good suggestion. Thank you, WGaffa. Always very useful. Okay, or should we do or else? Or can we just say, right, is this gonna work with this kind of macro? Never seen this before. Let's try it. What is this error macro? So the error is what? Is it just a trait? It is just a trait. So what kind of error are we defining here? D is our deserializer. Okay, let's see in that particular example that we were looking at here if they handle errors. They just use the question mark there. Or here they use this map error D custom. Okay. Is it defined somewhere? Okay, let me try this one then. Nope, it doesn't like this one. Any suggestion on this? So what I'm trying to do again is get a size, but if that size is missing, this is going to be an option with the non variant, and we want to convert that into a serde error. I think what they were doing there is just passing this. I'm not sure where this was coming from, the error custom. In this case, they're using map error. What if we just use the error? Well, we don't know what that is, right? Because this is just gonna be the associated type. Okay, Altos is suggesting custom is a function that needs some error-like argument. So can we just say custom but it doesn't even find the function. Could it just be a string? Okay, let's try that. Test.toString. No, it doesn't seem to be happy with it if I'm doing this correctly. But I think the issue is that item from this traits can only be used if the trait is in scope. Okay, so maybe I need to bring that particular trait in scope first. It's the error. And how do we bring that in scope? Let's see, what did I do here to bring something like that in scope? Oh yeah, there it is. Good point. So we want the error, right? Okay, at this point this is really happy. Perfect. Thank you very, very much, Altos. So now what we can say is missing sides field. And now we can do the same here. We can do okay or else. And missing text field. Perfect. Now I don't know why I have here an extra toString. I don't think I need it because I'm gonna be do I need it? Because here I'm doing as str. No, I don't need it. Perfect. Okay. I think there is a D error missing field 2 might be more appropriate. That's an awesome suggestion. Let's try that one. So let's see. Let's try here. Missing. And what do we pass? Nothing, just missing. Missing field. And we can pass the field name. Perfect. Sides. Oh, that's a brilliant suggestion. Thank you so much. And here we just say text. And we don't need to do the toString anymore. So this is also much more readable in my opinion. Okay, so now what if I'd like to write some tests for this bad guy? So test mod tests it deserializes correctly. So let's do an happy path first. So what do we want to do here? Basically we want to create a piece of JSON. Yeah. Okay. Copilot, you might be actually quite smart this time. Okay, I like it. Now there are probably a few things we want to do. Use super. And at this point we can... I have some broken syntax there. So Copilot almost good enough. What did you get wrong? Yeah, roughly correct. Yeah, it is. It is not perfect, but I think it's good enough. I was also thinking, is there any convenience in using the JSON macro? What do you think? Is that gonna give me more readable code, or do I just go for a raw string? Now also, I don't know why the raw string breaks down. Oh yeah, it breaks down because of quotes, right? But if it's a raw string, it shouldn't break down because of quotes. Is this just the IDE going crazy? Okay, you typically use that macro for tests. Okay, so let's use that macro, but that macro gives us what, a JSON value, or does it give us a string? Let's try. So how do we use this macro? Ooh, give me a code example because I'm too dumb to understand macro rules. Okay, we can basically construct the object this way, as if it was like JavaScript. Okay, serde-json from value. Perfect. That's a brilliant suggestion. Thank you so much. Let's see if I understood the suggestion though. So here what we want to do is basically image. Actually, do we even need the image field? We can probably just use the array, right? Let's just go with the array. And the array, okay, I'm making a mess. Let's just add one value for now, which is this. And let's get rid of everything else. Okay, so this one is a value, JSON value. And what we want to do is serde-json. You suggested to use the from value. Nice. Okay, now we have an image set. Now the only one that is going to work is small. All the other ones are none, basically. Right? What's your confidence level that this is going to work? Oh yeah, we don't need to use super as well. From value asterisk even. Oh, I have no idea what you're saying here. From value. Right, okay, I see now. And what do you mean with just small? That is too big of a test? Okay, confidence level was low, and rightfully so. That didn't work. So what are we doing wrong? Invalid type map expected string. That's probably reasonable because what we are saying is that, what are we saying? We are trying to parse a hash map string string. hashmap string vector. So let me review exactly where is the error. Line 60, which is just this one, not super useful. So we are saying valid type map expected as string, line 0, column 0. I'm not following there. Invalid type map expected as string. Where is it finding a map? Is this considered a map? It should be. So basically, right. No, I'm not getting this one. So if you have any suggestion, let me know in the chat. This is weird. Hold on. Okay. So let's review what we did. So we are basically saying, this is my crappy parsing. Just to keep it short, I am allocating everything into an hash map, string, and it should be able to allocate this into an hash map, string. So we will have two key value pairs, right? But you also have this function which isn't actually used. You have deserialize on ImageSet. Right, we don't need that because we are implementing our own. Oh, right. Yes. Okay, so we want to deserialize with this guy, not with... I see now what's the issue. Thank you. Good point. I wanted to implement deserialize manually. The thing that I did is that in this types thing, every time I have an image set, I'm using this deserialize with. I don't know if there is any better way to just make the type itself. Maybe implementing a specific trait that then calls this function so that I don't need to explicitly say deserialize with. I just need to put a manual implementation. Okay. Perfect. So what is that manual implementation? So probably I need to do something implement X for ImageSet, right? But what is this X? Is it some deserializer trait? Okay, deserialize plus lifetime. Cool. So let's see if Copilot will help us. Implement deserialize for ImageSet, which is going to be all of that. Now we need to specify DE. Okay, this is not needed anymore. We can just keep the debug. Perfect. And now I suppose we can copy all the code we have here, right? Do we get a deserializer? We do, so probably this is just gonna work. Let's see, fingers crossed. Now we can remove this guy, which I didn't like in the first place. Okay, Do we still want to keep serialize? Probably yes. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, now there is an error there because I'm using this thing that doesn't exist, right? Yes, I can still have a derived serialize if I want. I definitely want that. Perfect, let's run this test. Confidence level a little bit higher now, and it works. Nice. Thank you so much, Altos. This was pretty cool. So now let's try to do a few interesting things. So in these types, I can remove my old version of I did have our image thing somewhere. Did I remove that? Okay, this one, we don't need it anymore. And are there other images? There aren't. There is only ImageSet. Perfect. So the next step is, what if we try to test a little bit more comprehensive? Okay, let's just make this shorter, by the way. And now let's do another example where we check that it deserializes everything. So this time we want to do URL2, and this is going to be size medium. URL3. And URL4, this is going to be extra large. Now this is going to be two, 3, and 4. And now let's run this. Perfect, still works. Okay, so Altos is saying that, let me put this on screen, that my custom implementation is probably achievable with some serde annotation, but I'm not too experienced with serde annotations to know how. So if you have any suggestion, please let me know. And I'm getting a array. You're getting an array as input, not a map. Yes, the original JSON looks something like this. So you have an array of hash maps, and then you need to, I'm trying to basically flatten this array into my own struct. I know that there is some kind of flatten annotation, but I'm not too sure if that is flexible enough to work here. Plus, I'm also renaming text to URL, so that might make it a little bit trickier. Actually, I'm not even renaming it. It's just, this is going to be the key, and this is going to be the value. Yeah, you don't think it is doable with derived, unfortunately. That would be pretty powerful if there was a way to derive that. Okay, so now I want to do a negative test, which is something that actually I'm curious to make it work, because yeah, let's just say it fails with missing fields, right? Ooh, Copilot, what did you do? Interesting. ImageSet is error. Yes, that works, but what if I would like to actually compare the error? Can I do assert ImageSet and wrap error is data? What the hell is this data? Okay, category data. Does data contains anything? Let's have a look at that missing function that we used as an helper. Missing field. So missing field. Okay, is it implemented with a macro? VS Code doesn't seem to bring me anywhere interesting. I cannot even go in this error type. Okay. So I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm curious at this point. It does work. Basically what I wanted to do was to match some kind of text. So just for curiosity, what I want to do is print, if I can type ln that. Is it gonna print it? Of course, this is gonna. Right, error missing field text. This is exactly what I want to match. So I want to make sure that our error contains this. So how can we do that? Let's see. If we do unwrap error. Oh, there is missing field. But then no, that's just Copilot making up crap. That would have been nice if there was is missing field text. How can we extract the? Is there like message or description or something? Let's try toString. I'm just curious to see what it gives us. Maybe this is gonna be good enough. Oh yeah, of course. Okay, so that was what we wanted. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier. So basically what we want to do is assert EQ this with that. Perfect, this works. Now let's also do another example where we do this, but this time we have text blah, and this time what we want to assert is that missing field is going to be missing sides, but I'm gonna let it fail just to be sure. Perfect, it's failing, missing field sides. Okay, I think this covers our tests. Now the next thing that I wanted to do, and let's see how much time do we have. Okay, sorry, you might have seen an advertisement. Basically what I did, I added an additional test with, I figured out that you can just do a toString here to get the text of the error and use that to compare. And then I did another test where I'm testing for missing sides. So I'm testing missing sides and missing text and missing sides differently. Now there is another thing that I wanted to do which maybe requires a little bit more custom stuff. So let's look again at the JSON. So this API is a little bit weird. So it basically, I suppose it was designed as an XML API originally, and then they kind of stuffed some JSON on it. So one thing that I would like to do is this API gives me songs that I have been listening to recently, but it can also give me the song that I'm listening to right now. So if I'm listening to a specific song in this very moment, and this was the case when I created this particular JSON snapshot, there will be here a very sneaky thing. There will be this no playing true, right? So what if I would like to do this thing? Let's go to types again, where we have track. What if we want to add something like pub now playing, and rather than being a string is a boolean? How are we gonna be able to get that from something that it's actually living in an entirely different place? Let's open this one on the side again. So basically this is going to be inside, so this guy is going to be inside and now playing, plus I also need to convert that to from string to boolean, right? And also this thing is entirely optional. I don't believe in the following one it exists. Yeah, exactly, there is another track here that doesn't even have the attribute block. So how can we deserialize only a specific field in a custom way? That's another serde challenge, which I have no idea where to start. So if anyone has very specific suggestions, I'd happily take them. And then the next thing that we could do is this last.fm date, which is also a little bit of a weird type. Maybe we can convert it to an actual Chronos date time. Okay, so let me think. What do we know about serde that might be able to help us? I don't want to deserialize this entire thing to implement an entire custom thing for this, just for one field if it is possible. But this is the only option I'm thinking about right now. Okay, this sounds like a job for Deserialize with. Which is what I thought, but if we do Deserialize with, what are we gonna get as an input? Okay, before doing that, let's move track to its own file, so it's a little bit easier to write tests. Let's go to main, mod track. Okay, now types, we take all of this. Of course, it's gonna complain about everything. Import and import all this stuff. Cool. So basically what we are saying here is we could do something like deserialize with serde equal, and we can say, I don't know, deserialize, well, let's just call it de now playing. Okay, so it is trying to be smart. I don't think this is going to be correct, but let's try. At least it's a good starting point for this function. So now my question is, what do we get when we call this string deserialize? Because I believe it's just going to look for this plain field, which is not going to be there. And whatever is the JSON value here, we are going to get it here. Is that correct? Or is there any way where we could get the parent object at this point? Okay, sorry, you are asking me questions and I'm not replying to you. So what's the input value for now playing? And let's open the JSON again. It's basically going to be in the main object. So let's take a particular track. So let's look from here. There might be, and this is entirely optional, an at block called no playing. I'm having an idea. Is there another annotation where I can say that that field needs to be related to at? So we don't need the parent. Basically, to explain that better, something like serde alias at. Is that gonna do what I want? Okay, let's try this. I feel a little bit confident about this. Assuming that you can nest multiple annotations this way. Just rename at and deserialize the hash map. Do I rename with alias, or is there something else that I need to use? Okay, can I just do something like this? Then rename. Cool. Okay, at this point this is going to try to get from attribute, and now I think I know what we can do here, because we can say at, and this is going to be yeah, let's deserialize again to an hash map of string, and we need to import the hash map. Now at this point, why you're not happy here? What am I doing wrong? Wait, okay. Let's ignore this one for a second. Oh, because it's using string. We don't want string, right? What did we use in the other one? We used deserialize. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's a very good suggestion. I don't believe I'm gonna need other attributes, but it's good to know that maybe I could get away with flatten and then an attribute structure. Sounds good. It could actually make sense to have here attributes. but whatever. So for now, here we have an hash map. So basically what we want to do is going to be okay with attributes gets now playing well. Right. No, not what I want to do. I think the previous one was good. It's just more verbose than I wanted it to be. Because this is literally unwrap or false, right? Seems unnecessary to allocate this. But whatever, let's keep it this way for now, unless anyone suggests a better way. Okay, yeah, you can deserialize a hash map to JSON value if you have heterogeneous values. Yep. It's not automatic serde, but it works. Yeah, that's what I'm optimizing for. Ideally, I would implement a visitor and implement visit map. Right. Okay, let's trust Copilot for now and let's go with this guy. So now we can write a test for this one, right? Which is going to be a little bit painful because, yeah, there is a lot of stuff there that we will need to simulate. But let's see if Copilot helps us. And also we are getting close to my limit for today, so let's try to do just this one. Or actually, let's do one thing. Let's try to run. So let's put here a to do. Right, test. Now types is complaining about something. Yes, struct is not there anymore. We need to import it. And that's good. So in main, what we can do is if we run it now, it should give us false for the latest struct. Instead, it did fail. Missing field attribute. Fair enough. We need to make it an option. How do we make it optional with an annotation? Is there here an annotation to make it like optional? I suppose you'll need to make this one an option, which is very annoying. Oh yeah, we can do default, right? We can do default and say false. Is that gonna be enough? Why it doesn't like that? Come on. Ah, come on, what's your problem there? Does it need to be a string or what? How do I specify a default? Oh, so it's just default bool default? Still doesn't seem to like that. Or is it just the annotation default? Okay, I see now. So it's just gonna use whatever default for that particular type. Sounds good. Thank you. Sorry, I'm a little bit slow today. Well, slow always, but especially today. So now we can run this code and it should give us the last song, and now playing is false. Sounds good. Now I'm gonna put some song there on Spotify. And you can judge me by my song preference. Missing the field date, right, okay. I should have seen this coming. So that should be easy enough to fix, but basically the point should be, if I understand this correctly, that here in a song that I'm not playing right now, there is a date, but if I'm playing a song right now, there is no date because the song was not completed. So we need to make that date optional. And this is where I'm starting not to like this thing anymore, because yeah, I suppose I don't know if it makes sense to do this track to make it an enum and to have like a now playing track and an actual recorded track. But for now, let's just go with this. Something to consider for next time. Okay, now if we rerun our main, I stopped the song, so this should just work again. Now playing false. I'm gonna put the song again. And this works. Now playing true. Awesome. Okay, so the last thing that I'm gonna do for today is just do a commit, so we can get all the nice stuff that we have been doing today. And by the way, let me share the repository with you here in the chat if anyone is curious. But the next thing that I want to do next time is to try to parse the date in a little bit more custom way. Actually, let's look at it right now. It's very crappy. It's just inside the track last FM date. So it's literally this UTS thing, which I don't even remember what we get, and then text, which of course is not very useful. And one of the two is just a Unix timestamp, probably this one. So this is not a useful date. So most likely we will want to use something like Chronos or some other native date type. So it might be nice next time to try to convert this into a proper type. And then maybe another thing that we could be doing is to avoid to do that hash map thing and do a proper visitor as suggested by Altos. So yeah, let's do that commit and let's call it a day. Alrighty, so at this point I think that I'm just gonna say thank you to everyone and gonna do a quick raid to somebody, and we'll see you in the next stream. Thank you everyone, bye.